This weekend, the Green Party officially made Jill Stein their presidential nominee at their party convention in Houston. It was the second time in a row that she was nominated by the party. Jill Stein is a physician and environmental health advocate. She was introduced by her vice presidential running mate, Ajamu Baraka. This is just under an hour.
Are you ready to make history? I said, are you ready to make history? I am so honored to be with you this afternoon. It's been a tremendous experience these last couple of days. But before I get into my remarks, please allow me to thank my dear sister, Sherry. I want y'all to understand something. She talks about human rights and the role that I play, but you know, when they write the history of the evolution of the human rights movement here in this country, front and center will be our dear sister, believe me. I have to admit, though, I told Dr. Stein that, you know, running with me is not going to be as adventurous as running with Sherry. Because you all know when you run with Sherry, you better be ready to go to jail. See, I tried to avoid jail myself, you know. But again, running with Sherry, it can happen. We was in New York at the, what year was that? The National Convention? We're one of those illegal gatherings, and they told Sherry that there would be no, it was in New York, no marches, no permits. But of course, they organized the rally anyway, and the police surrounded the square, because they were going to try to contain us. Now, you know, I had a chance to speak, and so I saw what was happening. So I said, I'm going to speak, and then I'm getting out of here. But you know what? The people were coming out, and more people came, and the police barricades were pushed further and further back. And I was like watching, okay, let's see what's going to happen. And the people were ready to step off, and Sherry put everybody in line. She said, we stepping off. And I said, you know, when the masses are moving like this, you got to be with the masses, and I joined that line with them. And we walked, and it was the only successful non-permanent or permanent march at that convention. That is my sister, Sherry. Let me thank also the organizers of these last couple of days. As an event planner, I know how difficult it is to organize these events. Let me thank the conference delegates. You all did a tremendous job. You took your responsibilities seriously, so let me thank you. Let me thank the Green Party in general for your consistency, for always being there and raising the critical questions and being a vehicle for progressive politics. And last but not least, let me thank my leader, Jill Stein. Brothers and sisters, friends, we are at a critical moment, as Jill says, a transformational moment. We have tremendous opportunities before us. The American people are longing for a change. They are ready to do something different. And we have to be the vehicle for that difference. You know, there are difficult conditions that the people face. You know, they tell us that there has been a recovery and things are all right from the crisis. But you know what? There are millions of people who we work with, who haven't experienced any kind of recovery. There are millions of people who still don't have a place to lay their head at night. There's a reason why the fastest growing population of homeless people are black women with children. There are millions of people who would like to have a job where they can live a decent life, but they don't have it. And if they have a job, basically they are making starvation wages. They're working 2 and 3 different jobs just to make ends meet. But they tell us things are better. We have a situation where, as a consequence of austerity across this country, in communities where we live and work, they're closing down schools. People live in communities where they can't go to the store because there's no store. So you have like 48 million people who are living in situations where they are going to bed every night hungry. We have a situation where basically, even with so-called Obamacare, we have millions still without health care. These are difficult conditions. Difficult conditions. And people are wondering why. Why do we have to accept this kind of situation? And so when the two parties attempt to try to herd people based on fear, we find that today there are millions of people who are prepared to do something different, who are prepared to go another way. And we are going to be there to provide that opportunity for a new day and another way. There are people all over this country engaged in struggle, who believe that we shouldn't have schools closing, who believe that we all have a right to be healthy, who believe that education should be something that's going to enhance our human dignity and our spirits, who believe that people should not be going to bed hungry or walking the streets without some place to live, who believe that women have a right to their bodies and bodily integrity, who believe that trans people have a right to live in dignity and with equal rights. There are people engaged in struggle all around this world building social movements. And part of that motion, they're looking at how do we relate to the electoral process? How do we look at electoral processes as part of a larger strategic plan? And there are many people who are saying that in terms of building power, we can look critically at how we advance our efforts through the electoral process. And when they look for that alternative, we have to be there. We have to have the possibility for them to be able to express themselves politically on the green ballot lines across this country. That's why it's so vitally important that we get as many votes as we can, that we run this election with the intent that we have, which is basically to win. My brothers and sisters, I've lived my entire life committed to the notion of independent politics, building alternative power. I understood that basically we had some real possibilities in advancing that struggle for political independence using the electoral process. And that's where Dr. Stein and the Green Party comes in for me personally, because you all get it. Dr. Stein understands that you can't transform a system without struggle. That you have to organize the people. That the electoral process is in fact a process about how we build power. And for me, that is what is attractive to this process and was the basis for me accepting when Dr. Stein called and said, Ajamu, are you ready to join me? And I said, Dr. Stein, I thought about it. I know where you're coming from, and you can count me in. I'm with you. It is that commitment to building popular power. It is that commitment to the people. It is that understanding that we have to build a multinational movement here in this country based on the needs and the aspirations of working people that I joined this effort. It is that commitment that I stand here proudly and say to all of you, it is my honor to accept the nomination for the Vice Presidency of the United States from the Green Party. A Stein-Baraka ticket is a ticket that understands we're going to struggle. It's a ticket committed to popular power. It is a campaign that says no lies. We don't lie to the people. It's a campaign that says no compromise, no retreat, and no fear. My brothers and sisters, you know, we're not in a position to determine the historical conditions that we are born in, but we can determine how we respond to those conditions. And for us, for many of us, we have determined that we are going to fight. So I stand here before you to tell you that the Stein-Baraka campaign, we are committed to fight. We are committed to fight not just for you, but with you. We understand that it is a collective process. We understand that all we have to keep us back is ourselves. So I pledge to you, my brothers and sisters, that we're going to do all that we can to advance this movement. We're going to give it everything that we have. As our dear sister and leader says, it is in fact in our hands. Let's make history. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, my friends, it is indeed my honor, my pleasure, to bring before you someone who really needs no introduction. Someone who has been a freedom fighter all her life. someone who I've seen work night and day for all of us, someone whose dedication is something to be admired. I've been on this adventure for just a couple of days, and I have even more respect for Dr. Stein now. So, with no more delay, please, my friends, brothers and sisters, join me in bringing out and showing our love for the next President of the United States, Dr. Jill Stein.
Democracy looks like. Let's go, all of us. Woo! Yes, we are what democracy looks like, and we are what political revolution looks like. And thank you, thank every one of you. Thank you, Ajamu, for that incredible inspiration. Thank you to every one of you for being here and leading the charge for an America and a world that works for all of us. And I want to agree with everything that Ajamu said and everything that Sherry said, and agree with all of their thank yous. I want to reiterate them and just add to that a big thank you to Lynn Serpy, who's been running the show here. And a big thank you to Tama Yeager and to Hillary Kane and to the Harris County Green Party for making this amazing convention possible. I'm honored beyond words to be your candidate, and I'm so honored to be running for President of the United States with the Green Party, the only party of, by, and for the people. That is what we are. We have been ahead of the curve in so many ways, on climate change, on green energy, on demilitarization, on marriage equality, on free public higher education and canceling student debt, on stopping the Trans-Pacific Partnership, on ending the war on drugs and the incarceration state, on providing reparations for slavery and to the indigenous people of this nation, on opposing war crimes committed by Saudi Arabia in Yemen, and war crimes and occupation committed by the Israeli government in Palestine. And so much more. We have been ahead of the curve for decades, and all of a sudden that curve is catching up to us big time. I want to again recognize the heroes who have kept the party going through thick and thin. So again, stand up if you are part of a state, local, or national Green Party organization, and a big thank you to you. And again, a big thank you. It is such an honor to be also running in alliance with the Bernie Sanders movement that I now hear called as Burning Green. Burning Green, we are burning green together. We owe you such a debt of gratitude for lifting up and smoldering for decades. You broke through the media blackout. You lifted us up, and you refused to be shut down by the DNC. So please stand. Stand so we can thank you from the Bernie campaign. Thank you so much. Together we are unstoppable. Thank you so much. It's an honor, again, to be running alongside of Ajamu Baraka, a powerhouse of human rights, who brings a lifetime of dedication and his powerful voice. And I have to thank Cornel West, who has been an incredible hero for all of us for so long, who has broken free. It's such an honor to have him in one of our 2 first commercials. Speaking to the world, I don't know if people have seen him yet, but he made such a powerful speech, which is out there now on the TV. And when I walked to the airport, when I arrived and walked up to the curbside check-in, and I gave to the brothers who were manning the curbside check-in, I gave them my ID card, and they said to me, "Are you the Jill Stein?" I knew they had heard the voice of Cornel West speaking to the broad community that has not been able to hear our message before. So thank you, brother. I am so inspired to have religion on this campaign. And I also am so honored to run along with the inspired state and local candidates who are also running for office and bringing our message of people, planet, and peace. Please stand. Stand if you are running for office so we can thank you and recognize you for carrying this fight into our communities. We are in this together. Thank you so much. And I just want to recognize that things have been forever changed. On the day that Bernie Sanders endorsed Hillary Clinton, the floodgates opened in our campaign to more volunteers, more ballot access drivers, more funding. We are a different campaign than we have ever been in history for having joined forces with you. It is such an honor to be your candidate in this historic moment of unprecedented crisis and unstoppable momentum for transformational change. We have not only an historic opportunity, we have a historic responsibility to be the agents of that transformational change. As Martin Luther King said, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. I know that arc is bending in us and through us right now. We are the actors in something that is much bigger than us as we struggle for justice, peace, community, and healing together. That arc of justice is moving through us as we mobilize to ensure that every black life matters and we end violent policing and broken windows policing, as the Frisco Five and the Millions March New York City just achieved by moving out the leadership of their police departments that had overseen broken windows policing. They are turning the tide in this crisis of racist policing. That arc of justice is moving through us as we sit in and as we lock down to stop fracking pipelines and fossil fuel bomb trains and coal and LNG export terminals and all manner of poisonous fossil fuel and nuclear infrastructure. That arc of justice was moving through us in Philadelphia like I have never seen. In the city of brotherly love, it was overrun by love in the streets, even inside of the DNC, as the Sanders campaign broke away from that corrupt and backstabbing DNC. And the Bernie or Bust movement that is here today. And I want to thank Yane Ndogo in particular. Yane, give a wave wherever you are, for helping us move to that higher place together where we cannot be stopped. Thank you, sister. We moved together in Philadelphia, and we merged our campaigns in rally after rally, growing stronger by the hour. The power of this movement was clear, especially during our power rally at FDR Park. Who was there? Raise your hand if you were there. Because it was not only us, and it was a sea of people as far as my eye could see, when nature erupted in thunder and lightning to say there is a big change coming. And as the heavens opened up and it poured down around us, we sought shelter because we were there inside of this little lightning rod of a tent out in the middle of this park, and the police said, hurry up, go underneath that underpass. So we just moved the rally, and we continued under the underpass in the lightning and the thunder and the rain, because we cannot be stopped. So here we are in this movement for justice and democracy that is sweeping the planet, from living wage campaigns to our fossil fuel blockades and the fight to end mass incarceration and to cancel student debt and to restore the rights of immigrants and indigenous people and LGBTQ and women and disability rights. Across the globe, we are part of a movement that is rising up like we have not seen for generations, because we are facing an unprecedented crisis that demands transformational solutions and a new way forward based on democracy, justice, and human rights, and that will not come from corporate political parties funded by predatory banks, war profiteers, and fossil fuel giants. It will come from us, from we the people, mobilized in broad social movements with an independent political voice. Because as Frederick Douglass said, power concedes nothing without a demand. It never has, it never will. We will be that demand. As Ajamu was saying, We're told it's a recovery, but in fact, it is still an emergency. Those good jobs we lost have been replaced by part-time, low-wage, temporary, insecure jobs. A generation of young people is locked into predatory student loan debt. Black lives are on the firing line. Immigrants face mass deportation. Wars for oil are blowing back at us with a vengeance. And the climate meltdown threatens civilization as we know it in our lifetimes. While the super rich party on, richer than ever, and the political elite that serve them are making things not better, but worse as they inflict austerity on everyday people, while they squander trillions of our dollars on Wall Street bailouts, on tax favors for the wealthy, and on wars that know no end. So we are in revolt. And the good news they don't want you to know is that we actually have the power to turn this around the minute we stand up with the courage of our convictions. Because we not only have the vision and the values of the American people that we reflect and that we lift up, but because we actually have the numbers to win the day. As you may know, there are 42 million young people and not so young people who are locked into predatory student loan debt. That is a winning plurality of the presidential vote, right there. And there is only one place that those votes can go, and you are looking at it. It is the Stein-Baraka campaign. It's about time we bailed out the students. We bailed out the crooks on Wall Street who crashed the economy with their waste, fraud, and abuse. It's time to bail out some of the key victims of that abuse, a generation of young people. We have the power. Don't let them tell you for a minute that we don't. Just go talk to a millennial who's in debt and let them know. And let them let each other know, because they are the self-mobilizing demographic if there ever was one. We also have the power to fix the other things that ail us. And by the way, ending student debt, canceling it, is our way forward. This is the gateway issue, because who is it that actually leads the way forward on transformational change? Whether it's the immigrant rights movement, whether it is the Black Lives Matter, or the climate justice movement, or the peace movement, or the women's, or the LGBTQ movement. It has always been the younger generation that leads us forward. We need to liberate the younger generation for all of our sake, not just for their sake, it's for all of us. And in liberating them, which, by the way, is my first priority when we turn the White House into a green house and make the world a safer place. My first priority is to liberate that generation who can then take us forward on all the other issues we are fighting for justice. That means an emergency jobs program that will also solve the emergency of climate change, a Green New Deal that will create 20 million jobs, that will create 100% clean, renewable energy by 2030. And that will create an immediate ban on all new fossil fuel infrastructure the day we take office. We will create health care as a human right through a Medicare for all system. We will make public higher education free. It pays for itself. We have news for the bean counters. For every dollar of taxpayer money we put into public higher education, we get back $7 in return. This doesn't cost us, this benefits us. There is no excuse not to have it now. We support the disabled members of our community to ensure that they have full support, the treatments they need, the housing, the health care, and the jobs to enable them to be fully contributing members of our society and to respect their dignity. We will revive public education and fully fund it and ensure that our young people come to school ready to learn. That means healthy. That means nourished with healthy food, not in food deserts. And that means free from poverty, the biggest obstacle to education that exists. And we will end high-stakes testing, which is an obstruction to education, particularly for challenged learners, and we will put an end to the school-to-prison pipeline. And we will end the closing of schools because they are poor or because they are Latino or in communities of color. We will support those schools, not shut them down. We will fund them. We will provide them with the real tools of education that they deserve. That is small classroom sizes. This is not rocket science about how to educate kids. We will provide them with enriched curriculum. That means music and arts and recreation and community engagement. We will do for our kids what the advocates and leaders of so-called education reform are doing for their kids. They are not sending their kids to schools with high-stakes testing. A couple other quick mentions because we're almost out of time. We will create a welcoming path to citizenship for our immigrant residents who are leading the way for just and sustainable and prosperous communities. We are all immigrants on this bus. If you were not brought here on a slave ship or your land was not stolen, everyone else here is an immigrant. And we will stop the deportations. We will stop the deportations, the detentions, and the night raids, which are a national scandal, while the Republicans have become the party of hate and fear-mongering. The Democrats are the party of deportation, detention, and night raids. We are the alternative for a just and welcoming path to citizenship. And the other thing we will do to fix the immigration crisis is to stop causing it in the first place. We say to Donald Trump, we don't need no friggin' wall. We just gotta stop invading other countries. How about that? A couple other quick ones. We can end the scourge of racist violence and brutality, not only in policing, but in our courts and in our prisons and in the economy at large. And we can start by ensuring that every community has a police review board so communities control their police, not police control the community. And we will ensure that every community has access to an investigator so that all cases of death in the custody of police are investigated, not just the few that get a special thumbs up from Washington and the Department of Justice. And we call for a Truth and Reconciliation Commission so we can get to the bottom of this crisis of racism and to provide reparations to acknowledge the enormous debt owed to the African American community for the unimaginable price that they paid in building this country and sustaining our economy for generations while they were denied dignity and freedom. And we will end the assault on our privacy, on freedom of the press, on the free internet. We will end the war on whistleblowers. We will free the political prisoners, and that includes Leonard Peltier, Mumia Abu-Jamal, Chelsea Manning, Julian Assange, Edward Snowden, Jeffrey Sterling, and Edward Pinkney. And finally, we will create a foreign policy based on international law, human rights, and diplomacy, not on military and economic domination, which has been a catastrophic failure. We must abandon that policy. The American people deserve to know the truth about these wars. Since 9/11, they have cost us $6 trillion when you include the health care expenses of our wounded veterans. $6 trillion comes down to an average of $75,000 per American household for wars that have not made us safer, that have only increased the terrorist threat, that have created failed states and have created mass refugee migrations that are tearing apart the Middle East and Europe. We say no to those wars. We call for a new. It's just unthinkable that they want to do more of this same catastrophically failed policy, and that's why we need to be on the debate stage so we can tell the truth about this. So we have a new kind of offensive for the Middle East. It's called a peace offensive in the Middle East. And it starts with a weapons embargo, since we are providing the majority of weapons to all combatants and to all sides. We can shut down the flow of weapons to the Middle East. We can also shut down the flow of funding, which is coming largely from our allies who have been partners with us in this, what shall we say, schizophrenic war on terror. Because with one hand, starting back in Afghanistan, where we and the Saudis created this great idea of the global terrorist enterprise that was created in order to help the Mujahideen fight against the Soviet Union. Well, this has come back to bite us in a very big way. And it's time to shut the whole enterprise down. Because with one hand, we and our allies are fighting it, but with another hand, we and our allies have been funding it, training it, and arming it, according to even Hillary Clinton herself, whose leaked memos from the State Department revealed that in Hillary Clinton's estimation, the Saudis are still the major funder of Sunni jihad forces around the world. We started this. We can shut it down. That is our answer to ISIS and to terrorism. So, hold on to your hat, folks, because we are in a whirlwind right now, a whirlwind that is way bigger than any of us. We have a job to do. We have a role to play that will not be played by anybody but us. We are the ones we've been waiting for. When they tell us to, get out of the way because we're standing in the way of the lesser evil, the answer to that is that this politics of fear, which we've been told to bow down to, has only delivered everything we were afraid of. All those reasons. We were told to vote for the lesser evil because we didn't want the offshoring of our jobs, the meltdown of the climate, the massive bailouts for Wall Street, the expanding prison state, the attack on our civil liberties and on immigrant rights. All those things we didn't want is exactly what we got by allowing ourselves to be silenced and letting a lesser evil speak for us. Remember, when they try to tell you you are powerless, remember what Alice Walker says. The biggest way people give up power is by not knowing we have it to start with. We have it. We are going to use it in this election. We are saying no to the lesser evil and yes to the greater good, because we are not only deciding what kind of a world we will have in this election, we are deciding whether we will have a world or not going forward into the future. The day of reckoning is coming closer and closer. On climate change, we are told that there will be a civilization-ending development in the form of massive sea level rise as soon as 2050. Anybody plan to be here in 2050? I think a few of us do, myself included. So we cannot wait, because we have to act now if we want to stop that sea level rise from happening in 2050. We need to declare a state of emergency right now and undertake a wartime scale mobilization to create those 20 million jobs and create that 100% clean energy now. We have a crisis in nuclear weapons, and again, thanks very much to the Democrats. Bill Clinton, who removed us from the anti-ballistic missile treaty framework for nuclear disarmament, and then Barack Obama, who created a $1 trillion budget for us to spend on a new generation of nuclear weapons and modes of delivery. So on the count of climate, on the count of nuclear weapons and this insane nuclear arms race that we are once again headlong plunging into, and on account of these endless and expanding wars that are blowing back at us all around the world. We cannot afford to sit this one out. The lesser evil is a losing strategy because people stop coming out to vote for lesser evil politicians throwing them under the bus. So the Republicans will win anyhow. And to look at Donald Trump does not stand alone. Donald Trump is about the rise of right-wing extremism, not only in this country, but in Europe. And as Bernie Sanders himself so often said, the only solution to the likes of Donald Trump is a truly radical, progressive agenda that restores our needs and ends the economic misery that promotes the kinds of demagogues we are seeing in Donald Trump. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Hillary Clinton is the problem. She is not the solution to Donald Trump. We are the solution. We are the ones we've been waiting for. This is our moment. Together, we do have the power to create an America and a world that works for all of us. The power to create that world is not just in our hopes, it's not just in our dreams. Right here and now, it's in our hands. We will make this happen together. We are unstoppable. Thank you so much. On we go. Thank you.